Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we're on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
Does your CEO value trust and authenticity as a foundation of your company culture? If so, they'll love my award-winning book, Selling in a Post-Trust World.
This powerful book dives into the principles of authentic leadership, showing how trust and meaningful relationships can drive real results. It's a must-read for leaders who prioritize people, connection, and culture.
Now, you can send your CEO a free copy of this game-changing book. It's simple, free, and the perfect way to celebrate a leader who leads with heart.
So visit ceo.sellingfromtheheart.net and we'll send a free copy of the book to your CEO today. That's ceo.sellingfromtheheart.net. Because leaders who value trust will embrace this book and take your company's culture to the next level. Welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
All kinds of things. It's a great day here at Selling from the Heart. I'm fired up for our guest we have today, Darrell.
It is Dre All Day. You're going to really enjoy getting to know our guest, Dre Baldwin. We're going to talk about discipline. The third day is going to be amazing. Larry, so many great things. Speaking of discipline, as we're staying fired up throughout this summer, it is so fun hearing from everybody throughout the week. If you haven't reached out to connect with us on LinkedIn, we'd love to connect with you. We love this audience of sales professionals that are dedicated to being genuine, being authentic, building trust, all the attributes we call selling from the heart. And we love giving a shout out every week to one of our friends. But this week is a special shout out.
Yeah, this is a special shout out, someone who's near and dear to both Darrell and myself, and that's Carmen Cruz. For those of you who don't know Carmen, she's the glue. She keeps Darrell and I in check. But she's the mastermind behind Selling from the Heart. So, Carmen, we appreciate you.
Yeah, we love you, Carmen. Nothing happens without Carmen. So we're all grateful to Carmen today. Well, we've got an exciting episode lined up for today. We're joined by somebody who embodies the grit, focus, and mental discipline that define true leadership. His name is Dre Baldwin. He's known to millions as Dre All Day. He's a former basketball player turned elite performance coach. Dre is the founder and CEO of Work on Your Game Incorporated and the host of the Work on Your Game podcast with over 3,000 episodes and more than 7.7 million downloads. He has authored 41 books, delivered 4 TED Talks, and built a global following by helping high-achieving professionals and teams develop elite mental frameworks, execute with precision, and lead with what we call strategic confidence. And he's here with us today. Dre, welcome to Selling from the Heart. It's great to have you here.
I'm excited to be here, gentlemen. Thank you for having me on.
It's our pleasure. I'm looking forward to this, Dre.
Yeah, it's going to be fun as we get started. Dre, you know the question that every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast answers, and that is, what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
It means to be real. It means to be honest and make sure that you are, first of all, upholding your moral obligation, your moral duty to help the people you're serving, your prospects, by getting them what they need, which if your marketing is done right, that's your product or your service, and making sure that you're getting them what they need, not more than what they need, not getting them into something that they don't want, don't need, can't afford. And that, again, your moral obligation as a salesperson is to help people. And that's the only way you make money. So that's what selling from the heart means to me.
Oh, this is so good. I want to tie into a couple words if you can just expand on it. You said moral duty. And it's the first time I've heard it used in describing selling from the heart. Can you expand upon that, please, just real quick?
As a salesperson, the only way that we can make money is by selling something, right? We have the consummated transaction. They get something, we get something. Usually we get money, they get the product or the service. And as a salesperson, your job, the actual job itself, is to make that transaction happen, facilitate the transaction and get the close, which is the exchange of money for product and services. Your moral obligation is to sell things, because otherwise you won't make any money. You can't pay your bills. And the way that you make money in paying your bills is by getting your product into the hands of people who need it and want it. And again, this is the reason why I said as long as your marketing's dialed in, which means you're talking to people who do actually need or want your product on some level, it is your responsibility to figure out a way and find a way to get that product into their hands, which means they bought it and you sold it. And if you're not doing that and honoring your moral obligation, then you're going to find yourself probably missing sales that you should have closed. So the example that I give to people is that in sales, you basically got three types of prospects. You have the easy ones. Those are the ones, some people call those the lay downs, or they just walk in and lay the money down on the table, just take my money. Those are the easy sales, right? Those are the ones you love. Then you have the no way sales. Those are the people who you probably shouldn't have been in front of because they're not going to buy no matter what you say. And then you have everybody else is in the middle. And of those people in the middle, those are what I analogize to, say in sports, my background in sports, to playing in a away game, a road game. And to be a champion, you have to win some of the road games. So you're not going to win all of them, but you got to win some. You can't just win only the home games and be a champion. You got to eventually go into hostile territory, so to speak, and you have to win some of those games. So some of those sales that are on the borderline, they could have went either way. Those are the ones that eat away at you because you're like, I could have said something different and closed that sale. I could have done something different and closed that sale, and you missed it. You could have closed it. You have to close some of those that have a career as a salesperson. So that's what I mean when I say your moral obligation. Those are the ones that make all the difference, the ones in the middle.
I love it. I love it. And all of this requires discipline, and selling in a post-trust world. Larry talks about the trust formula. And the fourth part of that trust formula behind, we all know authentic relationships, meaningful value, inspirational experience. The last part is disciplined habits. I just want to say thank you, first of all, for writing the third day. Unpack the concept of the third day to us, because I think this has got incredibly powerful parallels to the world of sales.
Sure. Well, I'll use an analogy. I was just saying sales. So let's say that someone gets their first job in sales. And I remember when I first heard of the concept of having a job in sales, I loved it because I loved the idea of you get paid based on your performance rather than just based on being a warm body in the building. Because there are jobs where you just get paid a salary, no matter what you do, you get paid the same amount. And then there are jobs where you get paid based on your performance, such as a commission-based sales job. And I love that concept because the person who sold me on the idea, I don't remember who it was. They said, well, why would it make sense if you're outperforming your coworker that you both take home the same amount of money? I said, that doesn't make sense. My background's in sports. So as an athlete, the better player is supposed to get the bigger trophy. That's the way it's supposed to go. So I love that concept. And so the concept of the third day is about, let's say you first sign up for your first sales job. You're all excited about this. I get to make all this money. You're looking at the comp plan. You're studying it, how much money you're going to make. And then you go out there the first day and maybe you don't make too many sales, but you're excited because it's a brand new job. Second day, you got a little bit less enthusiasm, but you're still going out there making the sales calls, talking to prospects, or trying to turn people into prospects. And maybe you still haven't made a sale yet, but you're still pretty excited about what you're doing. Maybe a little bit less than yesterday, but still pretty much. And by the third day, things already start to change. And the third day is the moment when you realize that this thing that you signed up for, Larry and Darrell, is not going to be all fun and games. It's not going to be one big party. Right? There's some work involved here. And this is the reason why it's called a job, because every job, there is a job element that people from the outside looking in often do not know until you get to the inside. And you realize, oh, I have to update the CRM all the time. I have to follow up on these prospects all the time. Not everybody's going to close. I have to file this paperwork. I had to do all these routine things all the time. That's the third day. And the third day is not about a moment or an experience, so to speak. The third day is about it is about a moment. It's not about, let's say, a happening. It's about the time in your career, business, life, whatever, when you realize that this thing that you signed up for is not going to be all fun and games. It's not going to be one big party. And there's some real work involved. And you have to decide, because the third day is really about the decision. You have to decide, am I going to show up consistently and do this thing the way it needs to be done? Or is this maybe not for me? Or are you just going to half-ass it and maybe just be okay, be mediocre at it, but not really try? And the way I describe the third day is it is the decision that separates the pros from the amateurs. Because as a professional at what you do, you don't have the luxury of choosing whether or not to show up every day. You have to show up every day because the definition of a professional is someone getting paid to do something as your main occupation. So if you're being paid, that means there's an obligation. As soon as you accept somebody's money, you're obligated to return what you're supposed to return. And as a pro, you have to do that. That's not a choice. As an amateur, you have the option, because an amateur is not being paid. So if you don't show up, nobody can really hold you accountable. But as a pro, you can be held accountable because you accepted the money. And that's why a pro has to show up every day. And I don't care who you are, how great you are, how easy your job looks from the outside or on Instagram. Nobody feels like working every day. All right. Nobody. I don't care what they're doing. Nobody always feels like going to work. But the best pros show up and they give their best effort on those days too, to the point that Darrell and Larry, you could never tell which days the pro didn't feel like being at work and which days they did because their performance is consistent.
Oh, amen on that. And twice on Sunday. There's something that, and just so you all know, Dre and I have enjoyed our conversations prior to Dre coming on this podcast. And I know there's something that's near and dear to Dre, being an ex-professional athlete's discipline. And discipline, I've always said, it's selling from the heart, separates sales professionals from sales reps. So when you start talking about discipline, Dre, just unpack what discipline means to you and why it's so important.
Well, discipline is about showing up every single day and doing the work and doing the job. And discipline is the number one hallmark of a professional, because underneath the umbrella of discipline, Larry, you're going to find consistency. You're going to find preparation. You're going to find knowing the job before you get to the job. A professional is always doing those things, and it's expected of you when you're a pro. It's not some extra thing. It's not a luxury. This is part of the expectation, and it's part of the package. So discipline is, if anybody was ever asked me, what's the number one thing for you, Dre, that's helped you get where you've gotten and all the different things you've done, the answer is always going to be discipline. And the reason why is because I look at discipline as that kind of that open secret, so to speak, being that it's a thing that everybody knows about. And if you ask 100 people, do you want more of this? Everybody would say yes. Yet at the same time, if you ask people, okay, are you doing anything to get more of it? They are not, even though everybody says they want it. So that's what I mean by the open secret. It's not like I have some special sauce that I'm hiding from the world. Everybody knows about discipline. Just a lot of people don't have it, or they don't want to do what it takes to get it, or which is usually the case, they want it, but they don't know how to get it. So they go about it incorrectly, fail, and then they figure that discipline is just not for them.
Mm-hmm. Thinking to the discipline from the context of an athlete in the sport and in the discipline to become a professional athlete, what did that look like for you? And I'm curious what you learned that applies to what you do today.
Man, well, everything is what I learned, everything. So my background in sports is I only played 1 year of high school. Basketball is my sport. So only 1 year of high school. I just started playing when I was 14, which is pretty late if you want to play college ball, let alone pro ball. And that 1 year in high school, sat the bench. I tell people I scored 2 points per game. And for those of you who don't know sports, if you score 2 points per game in soccer or hockey, you make the Hall of Fame.
That's right. Not in basketball.
Right. In basketball, you score 2 points per game, you're probably going to be off the team next year. So I got out of high school. Nobody was recruiting me to play in college. So I walked on in college. And again, those who don't know what that means you were not invited or expected to be there. You literally just walk in and try to play your way onto the team as an unknown commodity. I was able to do that at the Division III level, which is the third tier of college sports. So those of you who know anything about sports, the college sports you know about, the guys on TV, that's Division I. Those guys usually populate the professional ranks. So coming out of a Division III college, I did play, but after playing in the D3 level, it's not like a bunch of pro scouts are knocking on your door, because they are just looking at the Division I guys because they're supposed to be the most talented. So no one was asking me to come play pro. And I graduated in 2004 to give people frame of reference. So that first year out of school, I did not go straight to playing basketball. I had a couple of quote unquote regular jobs, which happened to be in sales, by the way. So I worked at Foot Locker as an assistant manager. And I worked at Bally Total Fitness as a gym salesperson. You guys remember Bally Total Fitness?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so they're out of business now, but not because of me. I sold a lot of membership. Actually, no, it's funny. I tell people, actually, it might be because of me, because Bally had such bad contracts that they would sign you up to. That's probably one of the reasons why they went out of business. So all the contracts I put people under probably helped them go out of business, because they used to put you in these 3-year contracts. But anyway, so in 2005, a year removed from graduation, I went to this event called an exposure camp. Either of you familiar with those? Heard of it?
No.
Okay, so you heard of a job fair?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so exposure camp's like a job fair for athletes. So instead of putting on a suit and bringing your resumes and shaking hands, you bring your sneakers and you actually play whatever sport it is. So at this time, exposure camps were starting to become more popular. These days, they're ubiquitous. So anybody listening, if you have kids who are in their teens who play sports, there's exposure camps for middle schoolers, high schoolers, college, and pro. So exposure camps are basically events where there's a player who thinks they should be getting more attention, or let's say scholarship offers, for example, but they're not getting it. So let's say your kid's a junior in high school playing soccer and they aren't getting any scholarship offers. You can go to an exposure camp and now they're getting scholarship offers because they played well at that event. So it's basically a way to get yourself seen. Market is a marketing event. And they have these for pro ball players. And all of us are guys who think we're good enough to play pro ball, but we either are not playing at all, have never played before, like me, or we have played, but we don't like our current options. So we go to the exposure camp to create some better opportunities. It's like a casting call, so to speak, in sports. And I went to one of these events, and these are destination events because the people in the crowd are not just random stragglers who like watching guys play basketball. These are decision makers from all over the world. So they travel to these events. So the same way that there may be a conference in the sales industry, the people who hire in the sports industry, they come to these events looking for talent, looking for their next hires, next players. So I went to one of these events in Orlando, Florida in 2005. I played pretty well at the event, and I got a scouting report, which was important for me because I needed a credible third party to say this guy is good. There's one thing if I'm saying it, there's another thing somebody else is saying it. And also got the game footage from the games that I played at this event. And these events are only 2 days long, so it's not like this is some month-long thing. It's quick. And I took that scouting report and footage, and I realized, okay, I'm probably going to play overseas. At this point, I knew I probably wasn't going to sign with the Lakers or the New York Knicks. So maybe I can go play overseas, but I don't know anybody overseas. I've never even been out of the country. So let me connect with an agent, because an agent in the sports world is like the middleman, same way they are in every other industry. They know people overseas. So I started selling myself to agents. Now, this is a little bit backwards, Darrell and Larry, because in the sports world, usually when you're pretty good, the agents come to you and they say, hey, you're about to play pro. You're about to get drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. Let me sign you and represent you. I'll negotiate your contract. And of course, the agent gets a piece of your contract because they helped you make the money. So agents go looking for players who look like they're going to be pro players. Well, when I got out of college, no agent was looking for me because nothing in my resume said this guy's going to play pro because of my pedigree, Division III, who cares? So I was calling them. This is backwards. They usually I was calling agents. So I called about 60 agents, got in touch with about 20. Those 20 said, let me see what you have. I sent them my scouting report and my footage. And of those 20, one got back in touch with me and said, I will sign you. That's how I got into pro ball, was through that. So this whole process was just what I learned in the process, to answer your question, was, first of all, you can't just sit around and wait for the opportunity to find you. Sometimes you have to go to the prospects and make them know that you're a prospect. Let them know that you're a prospect for them. You can't sit around hoping that they come knocking on your door. It's great when they do, but my saying is always, no one's knocking on your door, you got to go knock on some doors. If no one's calling your phone, you got to go ring some phones. That's just the way it works. And that's the personal initiative aspect of work on your game. And also it's asking yourself, what can differentiate you from your competition? Because coming out of college, I knew a lot of players who thought we were all good enough to play at the pro level. Problem is, internationally, worldwide, there's about 500 jobs for an American-born male to play pro basketball. 5,000, excuse me. That sounds like a lot, but that's not a lot. In a country of 350 million people, and half of us are males, and how many of us pick up a ball? 5,000 is not a lot of jobs, and most of them are already taken. So what was I going to do to separate myself from all the other players who thought the same thing I was thinking? And in talent, we're pretty comparable. And most of the players I knew figured, okay, I'll just separate myself by just being a better player than everybody else. When we get on the court, it'll be obvious. Of course, I thought the same thing, but I said, if I play that game, I'm not going to win because I'm not even going to get the chance that the Division I guy gets. So that's not going to work. I need to do something different. So as I looked around the landscape, and I know a lot of athletes, I figured most athletes are lazy outside of playing their sport. They just want to play their sport, and that's all they want to do. I can sell myself. So how about I sell myself in addition to being a good player? Now I can create an opportunity that other players wouldn't get, even though if you put us all in a lineup and say, who's the best out of these 100 players, nobody can really differentiate us. We're that close in talent. But I can separate myself by selling myself in a way that they wouldn't, so I can get into conversations that they wouldn't be in. And that's how I got my career started. And often many of the ways that I kept my career going even after that.
Oh, this is so good. There's this discipline thing. And by the way, congratulations. There's so many parallels to sales, but it also requires not only discipline, but it requires an intentional mindset. And that just keeps bouncing through my head as I'm listening to your story, is without intentionality and without the right mindset, I think discipline falls off to the wayside. Would you agree, or what's your take on that?
No, absolutely. I mean, mindset's the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
And discipline is the first piece of mindset for me. So that work on your game framework is discipline, confidence, mental toughness, and initiative. Those are all mentalities. Those are all ways of thinking. So I've always been a strong believer, no matter whether we're talking basketball, entrepreneurship, sales, or anything in between, that the way you think is the foundation, because what you think leads to what you do, and what you do leads to what you get.
So let's talk about the work on yourself, a framework, work on your game framework, the discipline, the confidence. Confidence. Talk to us about developing confidence.
Well, it's the number one thing everybody wants, Darrell. So if you ask people any internal trait, and I've actually asked this to audiences, you take any internal trait, something that's intangible, that's inside of you that you can't measure or count. If you could have, and you can alter it in any way, what would it be? If you ask an audience of people that question, the answer is always the same. Overwhelmingly, it's confidence. I want to have more self-esteem. I want to have a healthier self-image. I want to feel better about myself. And then the question I always ask myself is, why is that? Why does everybody want more confidence? My reasoning is that if a person has more confidence, that means they'll try more things. They will project a healthier image out to the rest of the world, which means other people will be more open to them and anything that they do or say. And when you feel better about yourself, you tend to do better in anything that you do. You just perform better when you feel good. And I've asked people this individually. They all give the same answer. I want to have more confidence. And so then the question is, why do so many people struggle with confidence, being that everybody wants it and everybody's familiar with it? Now, discipline is a little bit different, because a lot of people say they need discipline. They don't say they want discipline. There's a difference. Everybody wants confidence. So why don't people have it? Reason is, a lot of people go about getting confidence inaccurately, using an inaccurate formula, things such as fake it till you make it, which is not a real thing. It's an oxymoron. Or they just try to, somehow, some way pretend their way into being confident, which doesn't work. Here's the secret for everyone to know. Again, open secret. Confidence is a byproduct of discipline. So it's good you asked me about discipline first. Highly disciplined people are often very confident people, at least in the thing in which they are disciplined. So someone who's very disciplined in doing their role plays and practicing handling objections, usually pretty good at handling a sales conversation. Why? Because they've done work ahead of time. That's the professional discipline and preparation. And when it comes to confidence, the reason why you don't want to do something like faking it until you make it is because the subconscious mind takes everything you say literally. So if you tell the subconscious mind, I'm going to pretend to be Larry, I'm going to pretend to be Darrell. The problem is the subconscious mind understands that pretending has a shelf life. Eventually, you must stop pretending. So it's kind of like the story of Cinderella. She puts on the beautiful ball gown and a glass slipper, but she's warned that when the clock strikes midnight, that glass slipper is going to come off and you go back to wearing rags. That's what happens when you fake it till you make it. Eventually, the clock is going to strike midnight on your pretending. And now you can't keep doing the same thing. What instead you want to do is you want to become it rather than pretend it. So when you become it, this is something that you really are, and you may borrow the energy of another person, but you make it your own version. So an analogy I give is if I'm talking to an athlete and I say, who's your favorite player? Who's one of you guys' favorite athletes? Give me a name.
Go ahead, Darrell.
Oh, it's hockey right now for me. So
Okay.
it's Wayne Gretzky. And
Wayne Gretzky. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you're playing hockey and I say, who's your favorite player? You say Wayne Gretzky. I say, okay. Now, I'm not telling you to go out there on the ice and play like Wayne Gretzky. You probably can't do that. But what you can do is ask yourself, when you walk out of the locker room and when you're going onto the ice, how would Wayne Gretzky walk out of the locker room? What kind of energy would he have? How would he feel about himself? And how would he be envisioning what he's about to do on that ice when he gets out there to play? Now, again, you don't have to play like Wayne, but you can borrow his mentality. Same way in basketball, you can take LeBron or Steph Curry or Michael Jordan, whoever you like, and you can borrow their approach, their energy. You take that energy and approach, apply it to your game. Now you go out there and do your thing. Now, what do you have? Now you have a track record of you doing it. So now you can thank Wayne for the borrow. He let you borrow his confidence for a minute. Now you can use yourself as an example because you already did it. That's how you become it. You become it by stepping into the highest level version of yourself. You can pick and choose and grab things from other people, but you never try to be someone else. Because again, you can't. The rule is that no human being can perform in a way that is incongruent and with which the way they see themselves for an extended period of time. You can pretend to be somebody else for a day or an hour or two, but not for your entire life. You have to eventually see it in the mirror, not see it while looking at on your phone or at somebody else. So that's where confidence comes from. You be it first, then you do it. Now you have it.
Oh, this is so good.
Hmm.
I just got to ask Dre, what the heck drives Dre Baldwin?
It's a good question. And it's really generally is about winning. And when I say winning, is not about winning against other people necessarily. At times it can be. I mean, if I'm in a sport competition, then yeah, I want to beat them. But winning in terms of how do I put myself in a position to where people say, okay, when it comes to this thing, Dre Baldwin's involved and he's the best. He's number one. And there's just a consensus agreement that this guy is the guy. And in many areas, I have not achieved that. So that's why I got to get out of bed in the morning and keep going and figure out the next thing.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic, man. So inspirational. And I know so many of our folks listening in are asking the question, how do I get more Dre Baldwin in my life?
Well, there's a lot of ways. So first of all, I'm on all social media. So whatever social media you like, you can find me there. We were talking earlier about discipline. So my book, The Third Day, The Decision That Separates the Pros from the Amateurs. So this book is all about that discipline and how you show up when you least feel like it. Again, this book is called The Third Day because it's that 1, 2, 3, that third time around that you realize that this thing is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And it doesn't have to be 3 days necessarily. You can have a third day for a whole week, a whole month, an entire year of a third day. And anyone who's around long enough, we probably had a year or months, long periods of third days, right? And what makes the pro a pro is how you handle the times when it's not working. It's not what you do when it is working, because everybody feels good when it's working. So what do you do when it's not working? And again, we offer you this book for free, physical copy. We just ask that you cover the shipping. Just go to thirddaybook.com. Cover the shipping. We'll send you a physical copy of that book.
I love it. I love it. We'll put all that in the show notes. Dre, one last word of inspiration for this global audience of sales professionals. What would you say?
Everybody has a game, and the game can be sales, and you can get more granular. Maybe you sell auto parts. Maybe you sell insurance. Maybe you sell coaching. You sell something intangible. We all have a game, whatever it is that you do. Your job is to figure out what game you are actually in. A lot of times people don't know what game they're in. Figure out what game you're in. Then ask yourself, what type of skill set must I develop so I can best perform in this game? Because one thing I've always told audiences is that we're in a performance and results-based business. Everything is based on how well you perform and the results of that performance. If you have game and you have an opportunity with it, you show your game, you perform, you produce a result, and when you produce results, you get a reward. In the sales world, that reward is usually your check, your sales, your money. In the sports world, the reward is a trophy. In the internet world, maybe it's likes and comments and followers, whatever it is that you want, you get the reward that you want. And when you build a reputation for consistently performing and producing results, you can start dictating your rewards. You can start telling the world, okay, you know I can perform and you know I'm going to produce these results. If you want me to do that for you, you have to give me this. And you start writing your own check basically in life. And everybody has a game. Your job is to just deconstruct what I just explained. Know what game you're in, develop your game, work on your game, go out there, perform, produce results, and get your rewards.
Oh, so good. Hey, Dre, thanks for hanging out with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. This is great.
It's our
Awesome.
pleasure.
Yeah, you're a true selling from the heart champion. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you very much.
What a great conversation, Larry. So many nuggets in there. I'm curious what stands out the most to you.
Well, it's the D word that's near and dear to me. It's the fourth, key foundation in selling in a post-trust world, and the trust form that's discipline habits. I don't care if you're a sports person or in this case, you're a salesperson. Without discipline, not much happens. Everyone's chasing the silver bullet, the shiny object, the quick fix. Without discipline and consistency, we all know what happens, Darrell. That's what really stuck out to me.
Absolutely. 100%. I love the idea of borrowing the energy from somebody, not trying to imitate them, not faking it till you make it, but borrowing the energy. And man, I'm borrowing Wayne Gretzky's energy. That's good stuff right there. Hey, thank you to everybody for joining us this week. This has been amazing. As promised, we told you we got an incredible lineup of guests all summer to keep you fired up. So thank you to everybody who is sharing this with your friends, your clients, your peers. We've got a global movement of sales professionals that are dedicated to selling from the heart. If you've made it this far in the episode, you are one of them. And we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me or Larry on LinkedIn and make sure to grab a copy of Dre's book And let's just commit to being disciplined, to showing up and pushing through on the third day. I love that concept, Larry.
Hey, you know what? We're all professionals. It's time to do what professionals do.
That's right. Hey, thank you for joining us today. Till next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, push through on the third day, and most of all,
Sell from the heart.